Welcome back to another Dungeon Coach, Dungeon Master breakdown. I'm breaking down session 29 of my Curse of Strahd, and this might be the craziest session yet, maybe my most favorite session the whole time. So let me break it down. What I do here is I give the Dungeon Master perspective of what I thought was going to happen, some things I set up behind the scenes, and then what actually happened, and maybe some things we could all learn, myself included, along the way, from the good and the bad. So this setup stage is going to be, they are going to an assassination attempt, also spoiler warnings for just in general Curse of Strahd. That's going to be something to watch out for, because this is a little breakdown of the game of Curse of Strahd. So with that out of the way, my players are going to go assassinate the Burgomaster of Vallaki, the main central city of all of in the middle town, I guess, in Curse of Strahd. They're going to assassinate the Burgomaster, and Lady Voctor, the opposite faction here trying to overtake the Burgomaster, has put them up to the task of assassinating the Burgomaster. But it's all a ploy, it's all a secret. She is sending them off to assassinate the Burgomaster so that she can attack the church late at night. She has all this set up. She's been taking the guards. They've seen this coming the whole time. All these clues have been sprinkled out across multiple sessions. Guards have been disappearing all the time, constantly. They never even talk. Lady Voctor, they've known that she is a key piece in this Vallaki big picture here, and they've never really interacted with her. She offered a mission to do something, they never really took it. So they've ignored her, kind of. So I feel fine with this escalating to the point it's gotten to. So she wants to assassinate the Burgomaster. She does want that, but she wants more so to follow the will of Strahd. She is a fangirl, or whatever you want to call it, of Strahd, wants to do his bidding and do things for him. So one of those is going to be getting the bones back from the church. They've replaced the bones and put them back into the church, and Irina is having sanctuary inside the church because of that reason. So she's trying and get a double whammy there of taking the bones from the church and kidnapping Irina with this army of guards that she's been kidnapping and turning into these soulless guards to be able to attack the church. So because you undead can't attack the church because they're undead, and it's warded, it's protected in this way. But soulless individuals in Barovia, people who have no soul, they're not undead, and they're still very easy to manipulate. And Lady Voctor knows this, and she is having this army of soulless guards that she's taken the soul out of, made them mindless, and they're just her little, almost kind of undead, but not really undead. And they're going to be attacking the church. So the distraction over there, we pick up the session at the location of the Burgomaster's house. But also, Lady Voctor is just so clever. She also has a group, an adventuring party known as the Shadows, which are 4 adventuring party. And yes, I purposely did that. I have 4 player characters, and there are 4 members in this other adventuring party. So it's a balanced, almost PvP encounter what's about to happen, because these shadows have also been employed to go assassinate the Burgomaster, and the players buy it. The players believe it. I guess they're a little bit cautious, but they think that they're going to go all 8 of them in together to assassinate the Burgomaster. That's what they think the plan is. When really, Lady Voctor has told them, kill them. The shadows, she has contracted the shadows to kill the player characters and the entire party and assassinate them. She doesn't really, if the Burgomaster dies, cool. If not, cool. She wants to kill them, take the bones, and she would just be the MVP of ever for Strahd himself. So that's the plan. But what happens? Oh my gosh, even that stage setup is already just an amazing session waiting to happen, and I was so excited for it, especially because the players have no idea that these things are happening behind the scenes. They have no idea that Irina and the bones in the church are at risk. They have no idea that they're about to get turned on, and here it comes. So I wanted to slow roll this also because one of the members of the Shadows, this NPC enemy rival adventuring party, one of them is a wizard who is made a pact with technically a warlock who's made a pact with Strahd, and he's been eyeing down Lars the Bard the entire time. Lars the Bard also used to have a pact with Strahd. He reached out earlier in the campaign to Strahd. Strahd was he made a pact with Strahd. He was essentially cursed by Strahd. Curse of Strahd, how fitting. He just broke that curse 2 sessions ago. Huge moment there, and now this wizard is talking to him and eyeing him down because he knows he just betrayed Strahd and he's on to him. So he had this real creepy vibe the whole time. So how I did the turn, right, of the reveal of this party attacking is constantly I'm thinking of how can I split them up. Constantly I'm thinking of putting them in a bad position. So as I'm role-playing them, they're outside the Burgomaster's house. My player characters and the Shadows. They're talking about it. And one of the things the Shadow says, we need to pair up. I don't want to trust you guys. I don't want y'all sneaking around. I don't want y'all throwing us under the bus. I don't want none of that, right? So I want to make sure that we're paired off 1 and 1. So if we watch the door, because they're all like, let's just go in there together. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's such a dumb idea. Even though that's not really a dumb idea. That's probably the best idea for them. I said that we need one person at the door. We need one person in the hallway, and then the other 2 people can go into the room. So we have one, and so I'm trying to split people out and pair them up together. So there was 1 member of the party and 1 member of the shadows at each spot. And then I made sure that the wizard, the curse of Strahd, the wizard warlock that was, had a pact with Strahd, was with Lars the Bard. And then as they're kind of walking in, they're going into places, they get into the Burgomaster's room. So everybody's all spread out. 2 of the people are in the Burgomaster's room. The rogue's about to make his attack on the Burgomaster, which is also an illusion because the Burgomaster had been broken into before. The Burgomaster is known to have illusion magic at his disposal from one of his wizards in his pocket, which is another thing I added to the game. But it is an illusion of him in the bed and an illusion of his 2 dogs next to him. And the rogue's in the room. Right before that, I pan over because there's different scenes. There's the spotlight as a dungeon master. You can move around kind of, and let things kind of advance as you want. I went over to the wizard and I role played for a second of him saying, "Thank you. I just wanted to thank you." And just being real creepy. And Lars was like, for what? Oh, And then I just kept slow rolling that weird creepiness, right? And then I started to, as soon as they all kind of got into the room, the rogue was about to open the door to let the paladin in, which then would have, and they separated even further. So everyone was in a different room, all with 1 member of the shadows. It was perfect. And the rogue was about to open the door to let the paladin into the room, which then would have brought them together. And at that moment, I said, all right, this is a timeout even here with you guys. You don't want to have a bad feeling, unfair surprise round on them. Now, would they be surprised? I think they would be surprised. I don't know. But I don't want there to be a bad, unearned surprise round that I just throw on them and then it's bad. And then, oh man, we just got, that feels bad. Dungeon Masters forcing their hand on a surprise round feels bad. So what I did, Rogue goes up to the door. I said, all right, I need you to make a perception check. He's like, okay, has no idea. It was an unprompted perception check, but I think it was important in the moment that it would make sense that he's going to lockpick the door. Would he notice the rogue, the enemy rogue, pulling up his crossbow to make a shot at him? Would he notice that, right? He made a perception check. He rolled decently high. In general, the DC was 15. He rolled higher than that. And I said, you notice that he's going through the room. He's not pointing at the Burgomaster in the bed. He's like looking for you. Also, by the way, the player character rogue, Felix the rogue, the player character, he had invisibility on him. So he seems like he's looking around the room for you. And like with a confused, like squinty eyes, like looking for you with his crossbow. He's like, uh-oh. And then he had a telepathic link. The rogue is a soul knife rogue. He has a telepathic link with the rest of his group, which was huge and clutch. And I did not even think about this because there was also a bubble of silence that the bard put into the room. There's a huge thing of silence as they're sneaking in here, which threw everything upside down. And so with a telepathic link, he was able to talk to his party members when otherwise he normally would not have been able to, which that was huge because then he warned everybody. And the cleric was also way off by himself in a whole room looking for prisoners. So the way that the whole thing went off is there was a little surprise round. I made a shot at Felix at disadvantage. He's invisible. It didn't matter. He was able to warn and alert everybody else. So there was not a full surprise round, but they definitely were in a disadvantaged spot. I let the cleric be able to take 1 move action to be able to kind of get a little bit closer because he had the warning. The paladin did not get attacked at advantage because they were able to turn around and see that the enemy barbarian was coming at them. And then I went back to the role play between the 2, Lars and the warlock of Strahd. He said, our friend, I know that you finally have released yourself from him. I thank you for that. I am now stronger than ever because Strahd's focused on me. So then I've revealed that this individual has a pact with Strahd, and Lars breaking his pact with him now has granted him more powers. And then Lars like, uh-oh. And so then combat broke out. And it was super, super cool to have. I had the map of the entire house down of the Burgomaster's mansion, and there was like little mini fights happening between. But then I'm using tactics of like separating them so where the barbarian chunks the paladin across into a separate room and then runs the opposite direction to kind of 2-on-1 with different. So it was super fun tactically to kind of move around the house and everybody's kind of running around. There was also 2 NPCs fighting downstairs, 1 good guy, 1 bad guy, and they didn't know what was going on down there. So it was so much fun to have that little surprise go on. And then there was even times where people, the rogue and the enemy cleric would hide behind the corner, and they did a surprise round when somebody came around the corner. Not surprise round, a surprise attack when somebody came around the corner. So there's lots of dynamic movement all over the place. The Pug, the paladin player character, got really low. Lars the bard got kind of low, and the cleric got kind of. Everybody was kind of low, and it was a scramble. But some of the crazy moments that happened, just to do a quick play, not a full play-by-play, but a quick overview. Felix the Rogue was dashing all over the place, stabbed the wizard, and the bard put silence on his book. And this was another little mini timeout Dungeon Masters thing, is I gave them a wand of silence long time ago, and it ended up coming out that, and they didn't really know what it did, and they used it in some sort of dragon stagecoach thing, and they used it. They were playing around with it as almost like a puzzle, and they cast it on a wagon, and they wanted to see if the silence bubble would stay with the wagon. And I was like, you know what, that's kind of cool. I think it would work like that. So it's a unique magic item. So it casts silence on a thing. Like if I cast silence on this cup, there'd be an aura of silence around this cup, and if you walk around with it, it stays with you. And I thought that was pretty cool. So when they did that, I was like, yeah, and I established that kind of on the fly. Homebrew DM made it up like, yeah, that's a cool mechanic. And I decided in that moment 5-6 sessions ago that that's how that would work. And then the bard cast silence on the book of the warlock. And so now the book of the wizard or whatever, the book now has silence. So no matter where he goes, he's silenced. I thought that was super creative and cool. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really, what would he do? So the wizard throws his own book out the window and then starts casting Strahd magic that he doesn't need the warlock magic that he doesn't need his book for, which is like siphoning life. And he had this big, huge turn where he like pulls. I mean, there's a homebrew mechanic where I target an enemy and I target a player character and they take damage, and any damage they take, I can disperse half of that damage as healing to any of my allies. So it was super cool as the warlock doing a secret evil thing like that. And he was just using all of his Strahd magic and stuff. But then Felix the Rogue jumps out the window, shatters out the window, grabs the book, uses his teleportate, like he throws the dagger and blinks to it, which is a thing that Soul Knife Rogues can do, comes back into the room, stabs him and kills him. Wild, absolutely wild. It was super crazy for that bard to do that. The cleric was able to stay outside of the range of the silence, cast a whole bunch of fiery spirit guardians on themselves, freaking fire, burning hands, fireballs. The cleric was going off as far as fire damage goes. The bard was running all over the place, trying to be able to use Sergei, the spirit weapon, which we'll get to that in a second, which is a huge, huge moment for the bard. In an emotional role play type of way, which we'll get to him last. And then the paladin got in a real tough spot because the barbarian was a 2-shield barbarian. Just it was kind of a cool, that's a whole other thing. And he had him pinned up against a window, almost chunking the paladin out the window, but they kept saving against all those might saves. A super cool little battle there. There was a lot of really cool stuff going on. It was a super great fight. And then at the end, they're kind of wrapping it up. They're kind of it starts to overcome and win. 2 big things happen. One, I have to think as a dungeon master, the Burgomaster. Where's the Burgomaster coming from? What's going on with the Burgomaster? And 2, I love to introduce curveballs about round 2 or 3 of a fight to keep things on their toes, right? And I like to do this through fate rolls. Fate rolls is when you take a d20 and just roll it. High is good, low is bad, or high is the trigger, low is not. It's a 50-50 roll, always on the table, right? So the Burgomaster has a son named Victor. I had a fate roll that I made at the top of every round, starting at round 2, right? Round 1, nothing's going on. The fight's happening. Round 2, there's a ruckus, right? And I was going to make a fate roll to see if Victor would show up in the middle of this ruckus, this random, 19-year-old that's learning magic, right? If he'd just show up in the middle of this, what's going on, right? And I did. It was a no, and then a yes. And he shows up in the 3rd or 4th round, like, and he just starts trying to polymorph people into cats. It's a super low DC, and that's all he had to imagine. I could talk about the whole thing about Victor and the cool way that I took him in. He's like this weird, nerdy kid that just loves cats, and he wants all of his magic is like reflavored to be cat magic. So he just starts he bonds with Lars, and it's like, hey, so what should I do? And he's like, who wants to be a cat? And then he starts trying to turn people into cats. Super fun little NPC in the middle of all this craziness. He's just living his best life in the middle of casting magic on people in the middle of this fight. So that was a cool little curveball. But it gets real dark here in a second. And then the next fate roll to come through was if the Burgomaster shows up, right? And so I was made a fate rolls, and it rolled high. The Burgomaster shows up. And I also want the Burgomaster to show up because essentially, I want them to kill the Burgomaster. I want them to have the opportunity to have the Burgomaster be a spicy curveball in the middle of this fight against the shadows and all this other stuff. So, but I wanted to leave it to the dice, right, and let that tell the story. So, because if the Burgomaster doesn't show up, now they have to go hunt through the house and try and find him. Maybe he escapes. Who knows, right? So, rolled it, and the Burgomaster comes down. He comes down angry, comes up, checking on, see what's going on, and then sees that he's being assaulted, being attacked in this big way. And then he bolts, jumps out the windows, tries to leave. And the crazy moment is Pug was the one being able to, in the spot that they were at, run outside and see the Burgomaster first. And if y'all know, Pug has the best relationship with the Burgomaster based on role play of the last, how many sessions. And Pug looked at him and was like, he goes, oh, Pug, they're trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me. Can you help? And then Pug has a very high deception check. The Burgomaster has a very low insight check, and he believes Pug, and he starts to walk back towards Pug as Felix the Rogue goes invisible with an ability he has, goes invisible and walks up and gets ready to assassinate him, but doesn't assassinate him. And this is all the fights now turn in their favor. They've all started to the wizards, the Strahd wizard is down, the barbarian's down. There's only one or two left, and they're even on the brink. So the fight is won in that way. But now what's going on? So two things are happening. The Burgomaster's outside with pretty much the whole party kind of wrapping up to kill him. Felix is on standby for something really cool in a second. The cleric's up in the windows, shoots a fire lance down at him, and then Pug meanwhile distracting and lowering his guard. Super cool little scene as the Burgomaster is killed in this way. They finally get him. The cleric does the fire lance basically onto him, takes him out, and then Felix the Rogue has an ability to see into the soul realm, see into the ethereal plane, right? And souls are very important in the game, and also I have a whole another mechanic where the Baron, the Burgomaster, has a soul anchor to help bring his soul back and keep reviving himself in Barovia, which is a whole nother topic. But they knew about this and they were on standby. And the Rogue is a soul knife rogue that's in the soul realm, ethereal plane, right? And so as the Burgomaster dies, his soul lifts up and the Rogue can see it. And the Rogue, for the first time in the campaign, makes an attack roll at the soul. And he has to hit a DC 20, an AC of 20 and deal at least 10 damage. And he did both of those things and killed the Burgomaster's soul outright, just absolutely, shattered the soul, killed him literally and fully. So that was wild. Meanwhile, in the building, and this is a very important part, because it hits on some things, Dungeon Masters, that I would really inspire you or urge you to put on your players. Lars the Bard has this kid, this 19-year-old, maybe 20 even, so I guess not a kid, so a teenager, young adult, right? All he's done is tried to turn people into cats, and he even connected with Lars. Lars was the one that he asked what to do for, and it's just a fun little NPC. It's the son of the Burgomaster, who has had no bad blood on his hands. He's completely innocent. He's a good kid, right? Just loves cat magic. So he's been running around, just kind of, just dicking around in the middle of this combat and then he gets to Lars. He talks to Lars, and there was a funny roleplay moment where he asked what he should do, and he told him, turn the Burgomaster into a cat. He's like, that's my dad. I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'll do it to you. And he just tries to turn him into a cat. That was the only hostile thing that this kid did to Lars. And then Lars, in this moment, while everyone else is focusing on the Burgomaster and trying to kill the Burgomaster, the whole purpose, Lars has a spiritual weapon up and swings at him and swings at the kid, hits him, deals damage to him, puts him on well bloodied. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's attacking him. Okay. And so then he just runs and he's like, I chase him down. I was like, what's going on? Hold on. Why is Lars chasing down this kid to kill him? What's happening? So he goes over and he swings he goes over and the kid tries to stop him and he just runs away, and then Lars chases after him, and then in the hallway with his back to him, he's like, I make an attack. I was like, oh my god. And he makes an attack with the Sun Sword. And if you're not familiar with the Sun Sword, it is the holy ultimate weapon of Curse of Strahd. There's 3 relics in Curse of Strahd. That's one of them. And he uses it to swing down, knowing this kid's well bloodied on, if you hit him, you kill him. He swings with the Sun Sword that has the soul of Sergei in it, the soul of this holy divine purpose of stopping Strahd and all that kind of stuff. And he, with the back turn or running away, swings down a 19-year-old kid that just loves cat magic, kills him. And this is when the tone shift. I wanted to shift it. I said, and I described this kid who's running around, just loves cat magic, runs away, runs down the hallway with his back to you, running away from you. You swing down and in cold blood kill this kid who's absolutely and completely innocent. Describe to me how you do it. And I threw it to my player. And then he's like, oof, damn. And there was a moment at the table, and I want that moment at the table where everyone's like, yeah, how do you do it? Like, what is going on? And the player was stunned for a second, like, oh, what did I just do? And he almost realized, I saw the light bulb go on, like, what am I doing? What is going on? And I interjected because I think this is important. If you want to put pressure on your players and you want to put these moments on your players, you want to make sure you can also intervene as a dungeon master. You don't just leave him hanging. So I saw that he was like stunned. The player was stunned by what he just did. You know what I'm saying? And players can turn into murder hobos. And this is also what I inspire y'all to do if your players are murder hobos. And in general, mine aren't. But I think Lars just got caught up in the moment and was just swinging around and he just killed a young kid or, young adult, whatever. And I interjected. I said, I'm just going to throw this out there and you can take this and run with it as much as you want. And however you want to explain the rationale of where Lars's head is right now. You were just possessed by Strahd for a long time. A month or so, and you had Strahd in your head, and he's talking to you. He's talking about all this. There's that evil you felt in your body. You were using his magics that he granted you, and there's a little bit of Strahd left in you, almost like when Voldemort got into Harry Potter of the sky, and there's just a little piece of them. And now you're wrapped up in this darkness. You're wrapped up in this. You just chased down a kid and murdered him. Why? Like, what did he do to you? Like, is Strahd still in your head? Does he still have a hold on you? No, he doesn't. But I think Lars is wrestling with that, and he's just kind of like, no, yeah, I totally agree. I think he's stunned as to what just happened, and so I pulled off of him for a second, and I said he hits the ground. I also said he hits the ground done, and as you swing the sun sword, after this killing blow, you feel an absolute coldness wash over your body, and the hand, like the weapon you're wielding in your hand, the light of the blade fizzles and dims down to nothing, and you feel the blade get heavier, and you see the shimmering silvery platinum blade shift into almost like a muted gunmetal, and it just sits heavy in your hand. The Sunblade is now deactivated and no longer at its final form. They got it all the way upgraded to its final form. It's now dormant, right? Which is a huge loss for the party. And they have a dormant Sunblade now that they just activated, and now it's dormant. Because you just killed someone in cold blood with the sun. Nope, I'm sorry. I came up with that on the fly as far as a Dungeon Master. I was like, yeah, this Sun Sword's going to be dormant. You just murdered a kid with the... Nope. Yep, and so now he's back to dormant. They're going to have to unlock that again and do some redemption stuff there. And it's going to have to be Lars to do it, just for the record. But anyway, so then I shifted back over to the rest of the group, and the rest of the group finished up with the Burgomaster, and then they come back upstairs, and his brother, Lars the Bard and Felix the Rogue are brothers, and the Rogue comes back upstairs, and he's like, what do I see? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw it back to you, Lars. What does your brother see as you stand over the body of Victor? And he's just like, I'm just stunned and just standing there, looking at my hands like, what did I just do? And it was just really cool. I just got chills. Like, it's this really cool moment of like, damn, like a gut punch of what did I just do? I just killed someone for no reason. I got wrapped up in it, right? So I thought that was really cool, and it's going to keep coming back. It's going to keep coming back. So I really think that was a good moment to kind of hit him with. And then to finish this up, this is a little bit longer one than usual, but this was the biggest session so far. And like I said, my favorite. So maybe I'm talking about a little bit more than usual. But anyway, now they're in this house. But keep in mind what's going on right now. Right now, the church is being attacked. Right now, literally right now. I am tracking time because the church is under assault right now. It's like, what do you guys do? Are you all bolting out of there? Are you going to loot the house? And they stayed in the house and looted it. And I'm making fate rolls, which are useless. I'm making fate rolls in front of everybody to see. I was like, we're going to kind of see how, if anyone sees what you guys are doing, anything is going on like that. I made a roll right after the combat was over. It was a high, so they're fine. And they're still in the house. They're looting the house. They found so much loot. Also, as a side note, timeout on that loot. I have no idea what loot they found. They referenced something that I said offhanded earlier about like, yeah, the Burgomaster said he collects all the magic items from adventurers. There's probably magic items here. I was like, well, shoot, yeah, there's gonna have to be magic items here. So they found a chest full of a bunch of magic items that I never described what the magic items did or was, and I was like, we'll do that next session because we're in the middle of all this, and y'all will be able to kind of disperse that in the next session. Just kind of hand waved it, right? Because there's a bunch of big stuff going on. So it absolutely made sense, and it did not look like I was just like, oh, I don't know. So little Dungeon Master move there. My players, after the session's over, might watch this. And yeah, I had no idea what was in that chest of magic items. And I'm going to have to do that now as prep for next session. I'd make like 5 or so magic items, super simple magic items I'm going to put in there. They found a bunch of gold, they found a bunch of stuff, and they looted the entire house, right? Of the upstairs. All the servants' quarters and everything was downstairs. They looted the whole upstairs. And then I was like, yeah, like no one's coming around. There's no guards in the streets. Nobody's looking. It's almost like you get this weird feeling like this was on purpose and no one's coming, and it's almost like someone's making sure that no one's coming, and they're like, oh shoot, huh? And then so like, where do we go? What's going on? So then they all start to go in their different directions. They're like, all right, cool. So here's the plan. They stage a murder. They set up the whole thing to make it look like a certain way. That was super cool. As far as a fun little thing for them to do is like setting up a stage of a murder to make it look like, all that stuff. And then they all start going in their different directions, and somebody went back to the church. The paladin went back to the church, and they saw a scene. And I ended the session describing a very, very meta scene. I started talking to them about, all right, so you walk up to the church and you see something, but I can't yet describe what that something is. So, and this is literally what I said to them. I'm going to get a little meta right now, y'all. You walk back to the scene, and what I'm about to describe to you, I'm going to tell you what your characters would know and what your characters would instantly know and feel based on everything that you've seen. There's going to be some rolls that come down to see what scene you come up to, but the church was assaulted in some way, and there's going to be possibly people and objects missing from that church. Because you know now, Lady Voctor said that there was other things going on that night. Lady Voctor knew that you guys were doing it this night. She was told by all this stuff. And I lay the thing out. And you also know Lady Voctor works for Strahd. And you also know Lady Voctor has been kidnapping the guards, like she told you guys. And you know that Strahd himself said, I'm going to kidnap somebody every single night until these bones are out of the church. And you know that she works for Strahd. And I start seeing light bulbs go around the table about, oh my gosh, it was right in front of us the whole time. She is a minion of Strahd. She is doing the mission that Strahd openly announced to the city of, I am going to get the bones out of the church and someone's going to go missing every day until then. And she's the one doing it. That's her plan. Oh my God, it's right in front of us the whole time. How did we not see it? That is where now, check as a dungeon master. Now I can go crazy on them. Now I can do bad stuff because they should have seen it coming, right? It's fair now, right? It's not going to feel bad like, oh, I took the bones and kidnapped Irina. Now there's nothing you could have done. Oh no, there's lots of stuff they could have done. Because last session they did talk about reinforcing the church. They had some magic sanctuary on the church. They had some reinforcement of doors. They hired 2 bodyguards. So they've done some stuff to prepare for the church. So now what I'm going to do at the top of next session, which stay tuned for next video, session 30 of Curse of Strahd, is going to be a skill challenge, but it's going to be a weird and different skill challenge. I'm not going to get into it here because this video is already long enough, but basically there's going to be some dice rolled at the top of next session that's going to go over what happens. There's going to be a certain number of goons attacking the church, and we're going to roll some dice, and if they hit the DC, they'll lose a goon, and they keep going down, 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 and whittling down that to where if they can get it down to nothing, the bones are safe and Irina is safe. But if anyone survives, the bones are taken and Irina's kidnapped. And that's a huge problem for them. Maybe the biggest problem that they've had. The bones of the church that protect the city are gone. And Irina, who's Lars's like love interest / girlfriend and all that, and Irina, how important she is kidnapped and taken away. That's wild and huge, and it probably is going to happen, but I put some dice mechanics behind it that we'll talk about next time. So there's the big breakdown. Whew. If y'all want to see these all played out live, you can join Patreon. If you can join for free for 7 days. If you join for free for 7 days, join for free. There's a link. You'll be able to have access to the link, and you can watch these live plays. And if you want to stick around and say thanks, stick around, support all this kind of stuff, you can stay at the patron level or check out the other tiers and see what else you got going on. But you can access it for free technically. Link down there. There's a free trial. You can grab the link for it. And see what's going on, because man, all the live streams are going to be on there. There's a link, you can see it, the live plays of all this going down. So anyway, stay creative, think outside the box, get ready for session 30. Peace.